little debrief, and we're going to identify quadrilaterals from given properties. So you can see on my drawing here, I have some quadrilaterals, and we have two descriptions. One says two pairs of opposite sides that are parallel, and one says two pairs of opposite sides that are the same length. Okay, so we're going to be talking about them, but first let's debrief a little bit about what you did in the lesson. Why can we draw different types of quadrilaterals based on the same description? Okay, so think about that. Think about how different types of quadrilaterals, some have the same properties, right? We have right angles, we have parallel sides, we have sides that are the same length. So there's a crossover of descriptions, but they can be different types of quadrilaterals. And what kind of strategies did you use when you were classifying quadrilaterals based on your classmates' sketches when you were doing that activity? What were you looking for? You were looking for things that the different quadrilaterals had in common, right? So you were looking for sides marked as the same length, marked as parallel, right angles, right? So let's talk about these four quadrilaterals that we have here. They have two pairs of opposite sides that are parallel and the same length. Why can't we just say they're all rectangles? Since this one's a rectangle, right? And if they have the same properties, why aren't they all rectangles? Right, because all quadrilaterals are not rectangles. So we can't just say they're all rectangles. They have some things that are different, right? And not all rhombuses and not all parallelograms are rectangles, because if they don't have right angles, or that would be a big thing, right? The right angles make them into rectangles. Why can we classify these quadrilaterals as trapezoids, even though not all trapezoids have two pairs of opposite sides that are parallel and that are the same length? So that's when we start to think about our trapezoids and parallelograms. And I wrote it down here because I always have to think about it. Trapezoids have to have one pair of parallel sides, right? At least one pair of parallel sides. So, I drew these myself and they're not going to be perfect. But if we looked at these two sides and these marks are showing us that they are parallel, but what if we just looked at it as the drawing and we said, oh, yeah, those aren't parallel. Let's take away that. They're not parallel, right? Pretend. Okay? Then that's not going to be a parallelogram, right? It's only going to have one pair of parallel sides, which would make it a trapezoid. Okay? So we've been talking about that, and we're talking about how to classify quadrilaterals, and I hope you learned a lot in lesson 6. I'll see you in the next video. Aloha.